Welcome to Married to Movies. Industry insiders John Russell and Tracy Kring live and work happily in cinematrimony. They're sharing behind-the-scenes adventures of writing, producing, and appreciating films.
Good morning, babe.
Good morning, babe.
This is actually going to be a part 2.
Part 2!
Right.
Christmas 2!
Right now, you're probably in Vegas.
I'm in Vegas, and you are in your women's retreat spa love fest.
Well, when your mom died.
Yes. Well, thank you for bringing that up, by the way.
Well, that's what happened. When your mom died.
Yes.
I don't remember which one of the ladies, but one of the ladies suggested that we kind of, because this was also in August around the time of her birthday.
Right.
And so we decided that like every year we really wanted to get together, just the women of the family.
Yes.
And kind of celebrate her.
Right.
And that's what we call it. Celebrate her.
You're celebrating her, and I'm going to New Mexico to scout for Sky Valley and possibly do some castings and stuff like that. And then I'm going to Vegas. This is kind of our equivalent of a little vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Just not spent together.
I know. That's sad.
Wait, I had one more thing about the fucking Furiosa.
Okay.
Is one of the things that she transports from, where is that town?
The Citadel.
The Citadel.
Yes.
Is milk.
Yes.
And
Mother's milk is what it's called.
They specifically say
yes.
that they had given away 20,000 tits worth of mother's milk.
20,000 tits.
So I'm like,
I would like
hold
everything in my life now to be measured by tits.
Well, and I've seen in the Fury Road, they actually showed
it was like
some of the women hooked up to milking machines.
Right. Exactly.
Which, oh God,
don't
even get me started on the feminism of that.
Really unpleasant.
Yeah, no, in this George Miller apocalypse situation, women have it really bad.
Yes, this is true.
Really bad.
They probably have it a lot worse than it shows, but really bad. But they're really alluding to the fact. Though they
have the breeders.
There were a couple of the bikers
that were women.
They were ugly.
They
were ugly women.
That was a diversity hire, and we know it. But
are you saying Dementis was like, all right, I guess we gotta get a couple of. Do we have any trans bikers here for the wasteland?
Yeah, they were definitely trying to hit their marks, hit their numbers. But I was trying to figure out, okay, like how? Because where are all these women? That's a lot of women.
Yes, 20,000 tits.
20,000 tits. Now I would imagine emptying one boob once is one tit. So a woman has 2 tits.
So one individual boob empty counts as
one tit.
Exactly.
So
this is like a new metric system.
So then every woman has 2 tits.
2 tits.
Okay.
So each woman.
So we're talking about
tits.
10,000 times.
10,000 women.
No. 10,000 times.
10,000 times.
Or 10,000 women.
Or 10,000
I don't.
women.
But see,
that would be too many women.
You could milk a person like when you're lactating. You could provide more than just one round.
Okay.
And I considered, well, if they're feeding them and taking care of them properly.
That's true. You probably are getting better food.
And I noticed in Fury Road, they were like holding things.
Well, they were eating a lot of gourds, which I don't even know if you can
gourds and cabbages.
Gourds, cabbages, and potatoes.
Which grow very easily and plentifully.
Yes.
So, but back to my math here. Okay. I figured out that they had to have around 800 to 850 women.
Okay.
To create 20,000 tits worth within 2 days.
Excellent.
Because I feel like past 2 days, they don't really have refrigeration.
That's a good point.
And it needs to hurry up and get to wherever it's going.
Right. This is the physics of tits. Absolutely.
So, and it's possible at that point, maybe they turn into cheese or something.
Can we call it tit physics?
Tit physics? Okay. But I have never seen rooms or areas that would house also the stress that would put on your resources.
That's true.
To keep 800 to
Well, you gotta keep
850
them happy.
women lactating.
You got to keep them happy. You got to keep them happy. Well, and
Stress
and
causes
also,
poor lactation?
is that a sexual thing?
No, no. Actually, I have seen
Okay.
women who are adopting babies
Okay.
who can, through coaxing,
That was in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
they can lactate.
Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Rebecca De Mornay found a way to where she could lactate.
You can.
She did.
You can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like,
That was very upsetting
nursemaids-
to her mother.
Nursemaids and wet nurses and things like that didn't necessarily always have children of their own.
Right.
There is a way by which you can start that process. Fascinating.
Apparently that's fascinating to you
And
because
the
you created
female-
a whole new branch of science known as tit physics.
No, the female body and like the amazing amount of life that comes from
Right.
it is just incredible to me.
Right.
And that people like to see that torn apart, and
I just think
it
it's
hurts
very
me.
strange. I think it's very, very strange that this whole film really is about this character. It's a prequel. It's about this character of Furiosa. And but I wouldn't call it a feminist film. I wouldn't call it a positive, the positive imagery
No,
or anything.
the fact that she's trying to break out the breeders is what's supposed to make her, and I think is
and
what
and they showed that at the very end of the film, which is what leads to the next film.
right is
Right.
her trying to break the breeders out.
Right.
But that was going to
We
be
know.
her
Okay.
fate.
Here's the thing: can someone be a hero without having some form of like why I believe what I believe, who I am as a person? It's not just what Superman does; it's what Superman says. Okay, it's what Superman believes in.
Well, I mean, they're trying to build it so that you feel like this is just a very long arc of a revenge story.
Right. Like
You
Kill
know.
Bill or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but
But I feel like Quentin Tarantino made me feel.
well, you would
For
have
the
giant
bride.
conversations.
You would have giant conversations. She would have a conversation with the people that she was about to fight.
I was kind of like sad because they did not let the leads in Furiosa, basically the guy who they were obviously in love.
Right. Yes, that's
the
true.
guy from CB
CB Stryker.
CB Stryker.
You finally got it. We were trying to think of his name. We were going JD, SP.
I was like
what
DB
is it?
Sweeney.
DB, yeah, no. CB Stryker.
CB Stryker.
As soon as you said CB, I got it.
No, because he's like the guy with the hair lip.
Yes, the big guy.
I thought he was great
Yeah.
as her little boyfriend.
Completely. I'd never heard anybody talk about the fact that he was in the movie, but he was
No.
known as the Patronin or
I don't know what
or
it's called.
something. Yeah, he had a title. As
I wanted
the,
to
like,
call it a Dementor because all of the things in Furiosa kind of remind me of Harry Potter.
Oh,
It's like
interesting.
Dementus,
Okay,
Dementors,
yes. Okay,
and it's like Furiosa,
right.
like the way that Hermione would say Leviosa.
So, the big bad guy, the one from the
The other one,
the other movie,
yeah, Joe,
Immortum Joe,
Immortum Joe,
whose sons are named Scrotus.
and Rictus.
Do you think if they weren't deformed, he would have given them good names?
Probably not.
Because his sons were born.
They had like those
deformed.
shelf forehead.
Yeah, well, yeah, and the other one was like giant, kind of a monster dude.
No, but they
Yeah.
showed like a woman giving birth, and it was like
Yeah, and it had like
two bodies.
It had like three legs. Yeah,
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, third strike, you're out, and she's like not going to be giving birth anymore.
remember in Fury Road, he had a little person as a son.
Well, they had that one with the big head
Yeah.
in this.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But that's not his son.
That was not his son. Yeah, he was just hanging out with the cabbages, and I don't know what happened to him.
No, he got shot immediately.
He got shot. Yeah, exactly. Once
Yeah.
he got to fire the bombing dog.
He didn't
wow.
get to.
He didn't get to. Oh
No.
yeah, she did. Yeah.
He didn't get to. No, look.
Wow.
Okay, if you can make it.
I can remember so much about this movie. It's crazy.
No, look, because it actually I think the edit was great. I think it really communicated each action really well.
That's interesting. Okay.
And I think that's overall about Fury Road and Furiosa. The editing is really immaculate.
He is building a world. He
Yeah.
is really building
Now,
a world.
there's a lot of-
in a much more kind of like understandable way than like trying to figure out like remembering every name and everything on like Game of Thrones.
No, it's like there are groups of people.
Yes.
Like war boys.
Yes,
They don't
war
have
boys.
names.
Right, exactly. Right.
Yeah, it's not like you have to learn. And then there's like the history dude who's just got tattoos of all the history written
which
on
was
him.
cool. Give me
Which
a
is
word
cool.
burger.
A word burger.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
There's a lot of really interesting things. If you can just hang on through the first 15, 20 minutes of that movie,
Right.
you're going to get a really fun movie.
I think it's a better movie than just as a story, it's a better movie. The way women are treated, the way that we see them on screen, that type of thing. We've been rewatching all the way through Mad Men.
Oh, yeah.
And you pointed out something that I thought was very, very relevant.
Well, watching it this time, and like that's the fun thing about watching things a few times. I've seen Mad Men all the way through like 4 or 5 times.
Right. Not as much as we've seen West Wing, but
no.
This
time it really hit me that like no wonder white men are so butthurt. Like, no wonder. I mean, if you showed me a past in which my father and my grandfather had just these women at home running everything for them.
Right.
You get to come home from work. You get dinner.
Yes.
Your needs are considered.
Yes.
Things that will be helpful so that you can do what you need to do are just taken care of. You may have to mow the lawn on the weekend. You may have to take the trash out, but your children are raised well for you.
Here's the thing. It's we were just watching a CBS Sunday Morning, and they brought up James Baldwin, and he said something that is relevant to what we're saying, which was that the American dream was built on the backs of the black man. But I would say that
women. Well, oppression.
Yes.
And the thing that Mad Men were showing and the things that they were creating.
The women were always smarter.
No. But in their ads, this is when ads and commercialism, consumerism are built to entice a woman to get her self-worth or her rewards through products.
Right.
Through having what the Joneses had.
Well, and on Mad Men, you had 3 major female characters. You had Joan, who basically was like, I'm sexy. I know I'm sexy. I'm going to ride my sexy all the way to Success Town. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you had Peggy, who was like, I'm super smart and super talented, and I'm going to try to figure out a way. And then you had Don's wife, Betty, who was like quintessential 1950s.
She was like a unhappy housewife, and honestly, they should have put her on medication because that would be often what they would do.
Well, in the first season, she's seeing a psychiatrist. I mean, she
really
always needed help.
They were giving methamphetamines and things like that, barbiturates to housewives.
They did her dirty when they put her in that fat suit, though.
They did that to Peggy, and they did that to her.
Yeah.
They put the women in fat suits, and I don't think that would happen today.
No, that was just a bad idea.
Yeah.
I understand they were trying to like show some form of like realism, but it was just
January Jones isn't going to gain 60, 70 pounds for that role. But also looking at the way the women at the office treat the men that work there.
Right.
I mean, it's all about like being ahead of his need.
Yes.
It's all about clearing the path. It's all about screening his calls and keeping things off his desk and bringing him his coffee and pouring his drinks and making sure he's got ice on his cart. And Just like all of the ways that women are in support.
Don's always taking a nap, and his secretary is always covering his ass.
No, but if you
and most of the time, he ends up fucking her.
If you think about it, and the men raised by men who were experiencing this.
Yes. The only way to get past this is that each generation looks back on the generation before it and goes, what the fuck? That's the only way to get past it. And it's like a tide, okay? You know, it comes in and it feels like it comes in further and further and further and further. Mm-hmm. And we need the tide to just keep on coming in and washing away those other generations. We have to wash all of those generations away that talk about breeders.
Well,
and
that's
talk
why,
about,
like,
you know,
whenever people
in Project 2025, you know, trying to stop people from voting.
Well,
you know,
whenever millennials and, you know, Gen Z and Gen X and all these people get made fun of, you know, I don't think it's fair because I don't want them to share my point of view. They need to have a different point of view.
They need to look at me and go, boy, that's just an
fuddy
old guy.
duddies.
That's a folk man.
Look at how fogies they are.
Exactly.
They need to have better ideas.
Right. And they
need to evolve.
And as we exist, we need to go, you know what? They're right. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to roll out with that tide and come back in. I don't want to stay where I am on the beach. You know, a dirty, dying crab. Okay?
Right.
That's the way I look at Donald Trump. He's a dirty, smelly, dying crab.
Ew. Does he have the red tide?
Full. Well, that's what MAGA is. He has a red tide.
Oh, roll tide. No, that's in your new script.
Yes,
is the red tide.
The red tide. Yes, the red tide. You know what we learned about it in my script? I am incapable of writing conjunctions.
You are.
I don't know what
you see how I did that? You are.
You're incapable of writing conjunctions.
If I was saying agreeing, I would say you are.
I know.
You are incapable.
It's crazy. Every single time I'm typing along.
But see, you just said I'm.
Right.
You didn't say I am typing along.
So you're saying that it happens typing, not necessarily when I'm talking.
Yeah, because you're afraid of apostrophes.
I'm afraid of apostrophes.
Yeah, it's like you're not really sure where the apostrophe is.
Yes. It's like it's right there. It's right up there.
You don't use it.
It's going to come down. Going to go.
Well,
the
apostrophe is very close to the return.
Yes.
And anytime that you make a mistake in typing, you are like, oh, you got it.
Wait. What was that? I don't even know what that was.
That was every time you're like, oh God, why is it doing that? Oh, what is it? Anytime you make a typing error, and like you have to let go of that. It's like when an actor is acting and they blow a line and they're like, oh God, and I'm like, stop moving. You're fucking my focus up. Now I have to reset everything.
Right. Okay.
They never stand in the same place twice.
So I do the equivalent of that when I'm writing.
Yes. It's very annoying.
Oh, interesting.
You're actually wasting time.
Right.
Instead of knowing what to do.
Right.
Delete.
Right.
That's going to take you back to where you were.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You're going to backspace through delete.
Right.
And you're going to hit the apostrophe, not the return.
So you have this theory that we need to just find and replace.
Yeah.
And come up with every possible conjunction.
Could have,
had not,
would have not,
conjunction,
did
conjunction,
not,
what's your
do
function?
Not.
Right.
Yeah. We'll just find and replace these. It'll take maybe 3 minutes.
I don't think that's going to work because we're not going to remember all of them.
Well, and that's fine. But I would say those would cover maybe 80% of them.
Okay. You may be right.
And sometimes you do want it.
Yeah, that's true. When you specifically want to say something, it's like, I am not going.
Yes.
Instead of I'm not going.
But it has
to give emphasis.
It's emphasis.
Yes.
Right. It's an emphatic way of speaking.
Right.
What was it in Furiosa? It came up where you were watching and you were like, I was like, okay, so this man was not sitting in a room reading through this script with a woman like me. Because I would have been like, excuse me?
It was like a weird jump.
There were jumps?
It was like, I'm going to teach you and you are going to learn.
You're going to learn. You're going to be my little Padawan.
Yes. And then I will
and
let
then
you go.
And then the very next scene.
Next scene. Okay. It's time for you to go.
I was like,
wait a minute. Wait a minute. In that like 5 seconds, she learned everything and
her hair grew. Okay, so her hair grew.
I don't know. Yeah.
She was wiping black stuff on her forehead.
There
her
was
hair grew.
No transition at all.
Yeah, I was like, that montage did not communicate time passage.
Yes, yeah. There was even a montage.
The next scene picked up with them delivering the exact same thing. So it felt like a continuation because I never saw them deliver the things they had.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the next scene is a little tiny montage, which is supposed to be a time pass. And the next scene is them delivering the stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Which communicated not.
Well,
but
you got to have a Tracy.
You had a scene. Well, I'm just like, I'm following the emotion of the thing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so if I emotionally in the next scene don't get what I needed to get there,
right.
I'm like, whoa. Right. You can't. You had a scene where, first of all, this character just ends up in Germany. Like, I didn't see any of that travel.
Right.
And then this person agrees to do what this other person wants. And to agree to be in Germany and fly to the U.S. Is a whole level of commitment.
Right.
That's not made arbitrarily.
Right.
And you were just like, oh, okay, let's go to the U.S. And I was like, whoa.
There's that impersonation again.
It's like Mickey Mouse. I was like, whoa, that was fast.
Yeah.
And then they got there and it was like, she's just going along with it.
We needed some transition scenes.
Yeah. But like when I bring these things up.
What?
Because see, I don't care what I'm met with.
Right.
Like, I don't know if everybody knows that about me, but I don't care what resistance I'm met with.
Yeah.
If something does not work for me,
right.
I don't care.
Yeah, you're not going to like back off and just like.
No, you're going to have to explain it to me.
You're right. Yeah, you're not going to do that.
No, not here.
No, there has to be a reason.
No, you better be able to explain this.
Right. You better be able to explain
Why is this happening?
Right.
How did that happen?
Yes.
Why did that person do that?
100%.
You better be able to satisfy my conditions.
Absolutely.
Or else you're going to have to do something else.
100%.
And you went back and you redid it.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, it was much better. Yeah.
It added.
It did.
And then we got to another stage.
It helped develop the character too.
But then we got to another stage and I was like, wait, hold on. You just climaxed this whole scene.
Yeah.
And you still have a scene after that.
Well, yeah.
And you still got to figure that out. And it's not like I have to have answers. And it's not like I necessarily want to give answers.
Right.
It's to pose the questions.
Right.
So that you're forced to think about it.
Right.
And I think, well, good feedback should do that rather than pose things that should happen instead.
Right.
Well, you need a scene that does this. Okay, that's fine.
Right.
But I'm not going to tell you what happens in the scene. You got to figure that out.
Absolutely. I think in Origian, the next scene is a spacewalk. Interior Cygnus space. The two of them and Robbie cross quickly into the ship. Emmeline heads towards Matthew's life garden. Matthew follows a bit behind. When she reaches the grove, she's shocked. Almost everything in it has shriveled and died. I told you.
What have you been eating?
This all happened in the last few months. I thought I was doing good for a while. Lately, I've been eating from the synth.
Emmeline looks around the devastated horticulture and then heads to the back. These onions look like the roots may still be good. Look for anything that has any green. If we can't eat them, they could provide oxygen to offset the extra body. Dig it up and place it in the potting soil.
You do that. I'll start transferring supplies from cargo.
Food is most important. Get protein cartridges, culinary synth, and anything else you can think of.
I'll start loading up. Matthew leaves. Emmeline continues to try and salvage as much of the garden as she can.
Robbie
stops digging in the dirt and trots over to Emmeline.
Interface with the Cygnus and download its entire history post-launch.
Robbie starts processing and projects a screen in front of Emmeline. Capacity 7.8 yottabytes. Insufficient memory storage.
Source video files unaccessed within the last 10 years and downres them.
Robbie processes. Available storage 9.1 yottabytes.
Upload Cygnus Drive.
Robbie begins the upload. Emmeline keeps searching for anything living. Matthew comes in. I'm done.
I've salvaged as much as I can. Some may be too far gone.
I'll pack my personal items.
I'll look for tools and electronics.
Matthew leaves again. Emmeline grabs a box and moves through the ship. She stuffs anything that isn't locked down into it. Robbie is walking with her but is still processing the data. She pops open a door and unplugs a massive swath of cords. She pops out a circuit card and carefully stores it in a small compartment in Robbie. She finds herself in the doorway of Matthew's room. His table is filled with tiny clay figurines. He sees her, noticing his creations. I'm sick of sculpting. I make something and I play with it and then crush it and make something else over and over again. It's endless. Emmeline picks up what looks like a dinosaur.
I like this one.
That's a Longiswama. It had 6 to 8 appendages along its back like primitive feathers. That is a Jaloptosaurus. They were known as vampire dinosaurs. They were small enough to suck the blood from larger ones by hanging onto their belly.
Emmeline shoves them into a bag in one big swipe, along with personal family pictures.
Interior Lyra space. They make their way quickly on board and tighten the hatch to the Cygnus. Emmeline pulls up a star chart on her cockpit screen and looks at where they are and how to get back onto the original trajectory. She starts to make time calculations. Matthew looks at the chart. Is that where you're headed?
Red dwarf star, exoplanet Kepler.
Yours was so close. I was 9,000 light years away. Do you think that means Solange liked you better?
I don't know. Get ready to release on my mark.
Matthew goes to the airlock and hovers above the release button. Emmeline types.
Release.
They both watch the Cygnus float out of view. Emmeline types into her keyboard.
Re-engage Alcubierre drive / original course.
The Lyra accelerates out of sight with a flash. Will we be going by any collapsing stars?
I don't see any on the chart, but that doesn't mean there aren't any.
I have a theory. About 5 years ago, I stopped the ship. I know, I'm not supposed to.
I had to stop too. Passing through silver particles wore the communications down.
I was receiving another radio signal from GRS 1915-105 in the Aquila Galaxy, a neutron star, and I wanted to investigate it. As I got closer to the collapsing body, my clock started to go crazy, and I was accelerating without even using the Alcubierre.
How fast?
I got scared and turned around, but I calculated if I hadn't stopped, I could have traveled 112 light years in 1 year.
That's incredible. Do you think that's accurate?
I don't even know if the ship can handle that kind of speed. It could have just blown apart.
The density of time-space changed as the star collapsed?
Thinned.
But if the neutron star's gravitation thinned out space and even time, then it stands to reason you could accelerate through the thinner space.
I was thinking that getting closer to the edge of the star is like a race car going faster because it's hugging the turn.
I think my explanation makes more sense.
We should look for one on the way.
There isn't one.
Then we set our own course.
I've already lost so much time. I cannot and will not sacrifice my mission further.
Think about it. We could gain a lifetime. We could skip from one anomaly to another and even make it back to Earth. Or we could fulfill both missions. This could change everything.
My ship, my decision. I saw this TikTok or reel.
Right.
And it was a video. It was like an interview with Ray Bradbury from a while back.
Love me some Ray Bradbury. The one with Rob Lowe is based on The Hollow Man.
Rob Lowe?
No, it's not Rob Lowe. Sorry.
Kiefer Sutherland?
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. Okay,
yes. Yeah. Yes.
Hollow Man. Okay,
yes. Hollow Man and Stir of Echoes. Wait a second.
Whatever.
I'm wrong about all of those.
God.
Those are not Ray Bradbury.
Just shut up. Just shut up.
Those are not based on Ray Bradbury. Those are based.
I don't even know. I don't know.
Oh my God. I got them both wrong. It's not Ray Bradbury.
Okay.
All right.
Ray Bradbury.
Something Wicked This Way Comes. That is a Ray Bradbury. I know that one for a fact.
Okay, great. Lovely. He said, when writing, never think.
Never think.
That when you're writing, you should only feel. If I'm reading my own work, if I'm reading yours, if I'm reading other people's scripts.
Yes.
And it all that's very much the thing that kind of like dings for me.
Right.
If all of a sudden the script is thinking, it's thinking about where it needs to get to. It's thinking about what it has to establish. It's thinking about, too many things.
There is a destination that we are trying to arrive at, which is a plot point or a moment in the script.
Yeah, what I feel an agenda.
Ah, okay.
I feel like there is an agenda all of a sudden and a thing I'm being manipulated to do or feel.
Right.
And it's not genuine.
Right.
And this character all of a sudden is not a character. It is a tool. I'm listening to the author now, not the character.
Interesting.
And this came up for us whenever I was editing your script, where I was like, hold on, where's the character? And I said, who's saying this? You or the character? And you said, well, that's what I'm saying. And I'm like, well, I don't give a fuck what you're saying. I need to know what they're saying. How would they say that? It's
very pleasant to edit with Tracy sometimes.
Well, I mean,
sometimes something will be, and I'll know when I'm putting it, it feels like a placeholder. It feels like, okay, this is an idea that I want to get out here. And
it's like little eggs or little poops you leave for yourself. And you're like, I'll clean that up later.
Little egg poops.
Yeah. Eggy poops that you leave for yourself. And you're like, that's a little pile of shit that I'm going to have to clean up later. But the problem with that.
But you don't want to clean it up as you go because that stops the process.
Yeah, that's fine. You can leave those little poops. The problem is I specifically in this instance saw you going back through the script before you showed it to me.
Right.
And you did not recognize those little piles of poop.
Yes, that's true.
You didn't say, oh, yeah, I remember that was a pile of poop I had to clean up.
Right.
No. It was still sitting there.
Yes, this is true.
And then as I'm going through.
Just stinking up the script.
This really annoys me whenever I give feedback to someone on a script and they'll say, oh, well, you're reading an old version, or, oh, yeah, I'm planning on changing that. I don't like it when people just show me their dirty underwear. Clean this shit up before you show it to people.
Okay.
That's
right. Folks, don't be showing me your dirty underwear unless I pay extra.
It's hard not to get romantic about movies. Thanks for listening to Married to Movies. Jon and Tracy will meet you for breakfast tomorrow.